Welcome to another random Delboy gameplay video. This one has been on my mind for quite some time, and I'll explain why. A lot of my collection tends to be rewritten or remastered games that I used to play in the past, and this one is no different. This game is called Wings, only it is the remastered edition. So what areas does Wings come from? Well, normally I would do a full breakdown, but I'm actually going to do something different here and recommend another friend's game channel called Steve's 8-Bit Gaming, because he's actually done a retrospective of the original Wings game, and this one came from the Amiga family, and so it is an old 16-bit game, and both Steve and I agree that Wings has a fond memory for both of us, especially as the Amiga for me was my big boy computer. If you look at the history of my gameplay, coming out in 1985 as a A1000 machine user. This game came out a little bit later on in the Amiga's life. So all I really want to say at the moment is that Wings came from Cinemaware. Cinemaware is a very, very fond game company that brought out quality games, and they tried to give a sort of film-like approach to their titles. So back in the day, one of their games was called Defender of the Crown. It was one of 3 games that they released in very close proximity with each other, the others being SDI and Sinbad and the Throne of the Falcon. And all 3 games I bought, and of course Defender of the Crown instantly became a hit for me, and one that set precedents into games that I played in the future. Cinemaware therefore went on and made lots and lots of these types of games with a little bit of a film-like approach to them. So I suppose what you could think of those games as being like now are sort of like mini games with a story thread in the center. And Wings is no real difference, really. In fact, when you look at games as we do now, you could say it's a very simplified game, and why would I want to play this? I'm going to let you know now that even the simplest of games are worth sometimes your attention. This one in particular can look very repetitive. It's got a scene where you fly a plane and it's a dogfight type thing. There is a missions where it's sort of like the arcade game Zaxxon or the old Commodore 64 and Atari hits Blue Max, which is a diagonally scrolling strafey type game. And then there is the overhead bombing missions, which we've seen in multitude of games, and they are just mixed up and they're repeated over and over again until you become towards the end of the game where there'll be a congratulations, or if you die too early it'll be here's your gravestone. Pretty much that's it in a nutshell. But does that make things a bad game? Not really. But when I look for a remastered game, sometimes I look for more than the visuals. So I'm hoping that when we go through this game together, you'll see whether I like the game, and B, what is it that disappoints, and maybe you'll agree or not agree. So we'll go to the options menu first, just to show you what you can do. There is a sound menu where you've got a master volume, a music volume, and a sound effects volume. Now I've turned voice acting on so that you can hear some of the speech. there is something here called original soundtrack. Now I've tried to do some background on this to find out whether this was the Amiga version of the soundtrack or whether it was the PC version of the soundtrack. I couldn't find much information, but I think it's the PC, and I'm going to click on it so that you can hear the difference between CD sound that you're hearing at the moment and the original soundtrack, which I'm pretty sure would have been ad lib. But let's just press that button. So I'll let you listen to the soundtrack there just for a little bit so you can make your own mind up. I don't think it's too bad, and if you wanted to make things look at sort of have things sound a little bit more authentic, you could select that option. I'm going to go with the new one because this is the remastered game, and if you want to hear the sound effects and the sounds that would have come from the Amiga, I do recommend that you look at that Steve video that I mentioned earlier. By the way, his link is in the description, as they are in all of the descriptions for my videos. So then we've got gameplay, and this is where we're going to keep it as it is. I've set it to medium. There are enemy targets, it's invert, and my plane is yellow. You can set the controls and you can change them. I'm basically keeping things as they are to keep it simple, and so that I learn the game based on the controls that they recommend. And then there is the video. So I've set this at full screen, which is why you're seeing everything covered. I've made the resolution 1920 by 1080, so it fills the whole width of the screen. You can change that. My monitor has it as VSync, called G-Sync. So mine is set to on, and I've put anti-aliasing on with shadows and weather effects. So there will be snow, rain, night, day, and everything else in this game particularly on. If you do get any slowdown, you can change this. I think this game will run pretty much fast on just about every machine that's out there. I don't think there's anything too taxing in this game. Then we can load anything that I want. And that's pretty much it. So we'll go back to flight school and we'll add a pilot. So you do this for anything the way you start. I'm going to create one called Flash by Nature because I've already got one called Flash by Name, which is my little play whenever I'm doing a sort of a war piloty type thing. If you've ever seen Blackadder, you'll know Flash by Name, Flash by Nature. So we'll click OK, and then we need to assign some skills. Now, whenever I've introduced to something that's new and I'm not quite sure what I should be doing, I tend to put an equal amount in every single one of these. I'm not going to say that's the best thing in the world to do. I'll leave that to you. So I've just put 10 in flying, stamina, mech and shooting. Obviously, if you're low on any of these or not particularly great, do add more. I've played this game before, and I dare say I could put something into shooting. Shooting is something that I'm not terrifically bad at, but I'm also not terrifically great at either. But I've played a number of flying games and so forth. So we'll click OK, and then we're going to go to training, choose Flash by Nature, and have a little look and see what the training missions are. So it looks very much like it's going to introduce me into the world of dogfighting. So here we go. As you can see, it's a very nice display. Oh, I'm going to be shooting a barrage balloon. That was quite easy. That's good. So basically that just introduced me to up, down, left, right and fire. And I was trying to find the fire button, which is why there was a delay there. Now this is the like Zaxxany or Blue Max types that I was talking about, where you control back and forth, left and right, and basically you just fire, and I need to hit the targets. That looks very simple, but if things go too far forward, you can't move back enough to fire at these targets. So you need to be really careful with that. And then I believe it's the bombing missions. And these are the 3 games that you're going to be repeating over and over again. So you can see I've got to bomb 2 like factories here. And as you can see, I can move left and right again. And it's telling me really what I need to do. So there's my shadow. Missed. Yeah. So it'll probably ask me to do that again. I must admit, I tend to find that when I'm talking, I am worse at games. So it says I need more practice. So we'll go retry the tutorial. So we'll go yes. And we'll do that again and see if I can do it better this time. Don't want to miss it a second time, do I? There we go. Get that. Over and bombed. There we go. It can be done. So those are the 3 sort of like mini games that we're going to be playing an awful lot. So what we'll do is we'll join a squadron and just play through some of this. So I'm going to be a 2nd lieutenant. I've been on no missions. I've killed absolutely no one. And the story starts. Now you get this little diary every time at the beginning, and then you're given a mission to do. Now this one is going to be the dogfight mission. I'm going to have somebody with me as a partner, and I better start getting into this right now. Here we go. Now you always get these sort of like little flight takeoffs, but you can actually click past those if they get on your nerves too much. Okay. And straight away, I need to destroy 2 aircraft in this mission. Now you don't have any control over the speed. All you've got is control over the fire and how you fly. Now the arrows will sort of like help you a little bit. There we go, so I need to go around a little bit more. Don't want them to go from behind me. And you can stall. And your guns can jam. There we are. That one got done. Hopefully they're not behind me too much. And like I say, it's a very simplified flight engine, but you can stall. But you will find that this is more an arcade experience than anything. There we are. And that's the second one killed. Fly around a little bit. And basically it says that I killed both of those pilots. So that's brilliant. And my partner got wounded. So you can see one mission, killed 2. And there was only 2 on there. And we're not doing too badly. So we'll continue. And as I said, you'll get this flight journal every time that tells you how the story develops. And then you'll be presented with a mission. So this one is again the dogfight. Defeat all the enemy planes again. And we'll see whether they're going to be a bit harder. The clouds opened up and left us staring into the gun sights of the enemy. Good. Let's have a go then. Straight away there in front of us, it is daylight again. The only thing you've got to be really careful of is usually you'll fire, they're heading right for you and you're heading right for them. So they're going to shoot. If you start to fire, they tend to bank. Yeah, not too much of a problem there. Each one of these missions is going to be slightly different. They can be just one plane, they can be 3 planes, they can be barrage balloons, all sorts. So far we're doing good. 2 missions down and all 3 have been killed. So we'll continue. Again, we have the journal telling the story. And again, dogfighting. This is quite easy so far. It's not usually done quite like this. Usually you'd have a strafing mission by now. Here we go. So there are 3 this time. Now they will probably split up and fire at me from all angles. So I'm going to try and keep these 2 on the right close by. And you can see they're already heading towards me and starting to bank. You can get friendly fire, so you do need to be very careful. Now I've been shot quite a lot, so I need to be very careful. Otherwise it's game over. Pretty quick. And my career will be over with. Well, banking too much. Here's it quite a bit, but not enough. Must be careful, otherwise friendly fire will get me. There we go. And you'll see that there are flak guns already as well firing at me. So I have to be very careful as well, because that flak can hit you. There we are, I killed all 3. I'm just a maniac. And I am now officially an ace. Well, I good. So 3 missions in, 6 deaths. Now we're doing some strafing. Now I'm not particularly good at these strafing missions. I prefer the dogfighting, but it's good that we have a bit of a break here. But I've got to try and sort of like kill the infantry, which is the machine gunners, and if possible take out the trucks and tents, but they are secondary targets. Now you can do usually quite well and that will get you by. If you underachieve, you can get a reprimand. If you do it really badly, he can basically sack you there on the spot. So here we go. Take it off. So I need to concentrate on the infantry. There will be flak guns as well. If you go too far, like I say, you can really have struggle because you will not be able to get back in time to shoot the others. And if you go too far forwards, again, this is not easy, these ones, and you can really cock these up very, very quickly. As you can see, there is no way now that I can attack that vehicle because it is just too far behind. So I'm concentrating on the infantry at the moment. As you can see, there's no way I can get that truck. Let's try a few of these tents. Got a few tents done. And hopefully that was enough. Yes, a champion of the trigger. Now, like I say, you can really mess up on that particular screen because it's the primary that you need to concern yourself with. But if you don't do enough of either, you can get reprimanded. So many reprimands and you're out. So 4 missions in, still 6 deaths. Still trying to get used to the controls. Yeah, do apologise if you keep seeing the same screens coming up several times. Defeat all the enemy planes, and we've got 3 with me this time. And it's going to be at snow with snow. Looks like I've got 3 that I've got to try and kill here. Like I say, you don't want to fire too much and overheat your guns, because you will cause a problem with them jamming up. Managed to get that one. You'll notice that they're flanking me and coming around. That's why I've got shot. That one's a little bit far away. See if this one's a bit closer. They're both quite far away. See if I can get the other one. Won't matter as long as I've got one or so. He's dead. So that might be all of us taking down one each. There we go. Yeah, we all got one each. Look at that. Amazing. So 5 missions in, 7 kills. Ooh. Story moves forward to the 23rd of March. We'll defeat all the enemy planes. And we'll have a little see if what the next 2 missions will be like, and then we'll do a bit of a roundup. Hopefully so far you'll agree with me that although very simplified, I think there's quite a lot of enjoyment that you can get out of this game. Definitely brings back lots of memories. The Amiga version would have been far more simplified with its graphics, but no less impressive. And I do recommend that you have a little look at that if you can. Excuse me. See if I can get this one. he is. Yes. I just sort of shot him while he was going down as well, just to make sure, because, you know, I'm a bit like that in war. Not really. Pretty good. And we'll see what the next mission is. Balloon bursting. So I'm going to show you this one because although it's a lot like the dogfighting, you'll see a little bit of a different graphic. And I always think that that's recommended. So here we go. And we need to look for the barrage balloon. There it is, in all its glory. Now you can see that there are some other planes as well that are after me. But I believe that if you do get the barrage balloon, being as that is the primary mission, it will possibly be the end of this level. So I am going to shoot at that plane, just to get him out of the way, because I'm a little bit far away from this balloon. Oh, something's behind me. You have to be very careful that you don't concentrate too much. There we go. So we blew the balloon up and a lone survivor returns, and I think that's me. Yes. And we are 4th. Yeah, when it comes to kills. Pretty good. Now this is Strafing Truck, so I'm going to show you this because it's a, although we've had a look at the infantry, it'd be nice to show you something a bit different. We haven't done a bombing mission, it's the only thing we haven't really done, so. And what I've got to do is concentrate on these trucks. Like I say, it can look decidedly simple, but you go too far and you can't go back and you've lost one, and the idea was to complete every single truck, then you've lost that level. Just like that. So I lost one there, but I think I got everything else, so we might be lucky. Yeah, and I triumphed. That's brilliant. And there was my success rate. So I'm going to hit continue, but I'm going to do my roundup. So there, I actually destroyed 16 of 17 trucks. I didn't do too badly there. And you can see that I killed some infantry, but I did no tents and no supplies. I'm just going to do a roundup. Okay, so we hit back. Just go to the options screen where the music is a little bit lower. So, as I was saying before, some games can be very simple, some games can be quite over complex, some games can be totally identical to how they were when you played them, and all they've done is change the graphics and sound. And for the majority, I'm quite happy with those types of games. But what we have to consider here is this is a game that actually you have to buy. So from that particular perspective, if this game was a remaster that cost absolutely nothing and was just trying to bring the graphics and sound up to today and given us free, then I would basically turn around and say, get this now. Why are you bothering watching this video and listening to my waffle? You really seriously should be picking this up right now. As it is, this is a game and it can be as expensive as £12, but most times you'll see this in a sale for just a couple of quid. And my idea to you is that you definitely go to Good Old Games or Steam and buy this game when it is in a sale. Now, I have a nostalgia perspective of this game, and from that point of view, I'm going to probably like it more than somebody that's never seen it before. It is very arcadey, it is very simplified, but the story is quite good and it's very fun to play. And if you want to know what the original looked like, please do go to Steve's Gaming. That pretty much ends my roundup of this game. I really liked it. If there was anything that I would have liked to have seen improved, I would probably like to have seen more in the way of some role-playing elements, like increasing stats other than the 4 stats that you saw just now. By the way, you do increase those as you move forward during the game, but I'd have probably have liked to have seen that, and possibly some puzzle type element rather than an arcadey type feel. Cinemaware were not shy in doing some puzzle elements in their games, and I do wholly recommend that you do look at some other Cinemaware titles. Some ones that I am very fond of are Rocket Ranger, It Came from the Desert, Defender of the Crown. Those are 3 that come straight off from the top of my head, and in some ways King of Chicago. So they did some sport range games as well, but I loved my 16-bit era of gaming. This has brought it all back to me, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until the next one, bye bye.